Do you have a goal? Is there some vision for your future that excites you or motivates you? Because, same. It's very easy to be distracted and to have all your free time kind of taken up by stupid things like looking at your phone. You know, that's the very obvious one. That's why I think that if you do have a goal, even if it's not a solid goal, but just some faint idea of a goal, I think it's very important to recognize that and actually put in the time purposefully to work towards it. You know, you get home after work or school and you're so exhausted and you just take out your phone or you turn on the TV and all your free time just vanishes. If you're using all your free time on things that don't matter, then in 50 years or 20 years or whatever, you're gonna look back and realize how much time was wasted. And I really don't want that to happen to me. So I currently have a very big goal that I want to work towards. For some reason, I reconnected with a big passion of mine that I had when I was a kid or preteen, which was storytelling and also animation. And I love like classic Disney movies. And when I was 14 or 15, I got a light board, an animator's light board for like my birthday or something. And I spent a lot of time making little animations. And I loved it. And I spent so much time writing stories too. But for some reason, as I got older, I just stopped doing that. So recently, and I'm not sure entirely why, but I kind of regained that passion, but it's been very hard to actually do anything about it because I spend so much of my time working. But like I was saying, I don't want to look back on my life and realize how much time I could have been spending doing something that I actually enjoy versus just wasting it, or spending all my time working and then going on my phone instead of actually making the time for me to work towards a greater goal or purpose. Okay, so what is my goal? My goal currently is to make my own video game. I really love playing video games. I really love art and, like I said, storytelling. And I think actually trying to make my own game would be a really fun, challenging, and rewarding process. And currently I have like no skills. And just the process of learning the skills, like learning animation skills, and for making a video game I have to learn like Unity, and I'm also going to be using Blender. It's a 3D animation software and modeling software. I already have used Blender a little bit, but I really don't know how to use Blender much. So learning that, learning Unity, learning drawing and art, and also writing more are skills that I would really like to have. So the real reason that I'm making this channel is because I want to kind of hold myself accountable for working towards this goal and actually putting in the time that I need to achieve it. So I'm going to try to post weekly progress reports. They're going to be kind of just a recap of what work I did towards the goal, the ultimate goal of making a video game, and also how much time I devoted. I'm probably not going to be able to work on this stuff every day, but I do think I can do something every week. Some weeks it might be an hour, maybe other weeks 5 hours, I really don't know, but I want to at least try to do something every week in order to achieve my goal. Otherwise, it's never gonna happen. So now let's get into the fun stuff, which is what I did this week and how much time I spent working towards my goal. Hello again. It's actually been about 2 months since
my last video, which actually as of now I still haven't edited, but I will. Since then, I actually have done nothing related to my goal. So today is Friday, and I know it's been 2 months since I said I was going to start really focusing on my goal, but I think I'm gonna try to start next Monday or Tuesday. I'm not gonna be too hard on myself or too strict, but I am gonna try to at least dedicate a few hours next week to my goal. I started the week off by following some Blender tutorials. I already knew the basics of Blender, like how to work with simple shapes and make super basic materials and animations, and these tutorials helped me build on those skills. I just found a bunch of tutorials on YouTube, and there's literally thousands. So, when I originally tried learning Blender a few years ago, I started with the Blender Guru Donut tutorial, as I think a lot of people do, but after that, I kind of just gave up until now. But the thing about doing YouTube tutorials is that I always end up watching YouTube shorts, and there are some amazing YouTube shorts out there with great tips and advice, but it's also a pathway to me just wasting my time. So it's really bad when I'm trying to focus. That's why I started looking at other Blender resources, primarily Coursera and Udemy. And they have really professional and comprehensive Blender courses, but you do have to buy them. Still, I plan on taking a few of the courses at some point. Also, I'm going to need to be able to code using C++ once I start using Unity. And this site, codeacademy.com, has a bunch of free C++ classes. At a certain point, as I was trying to gather my learning materials, I honestly got kind of overwhelmed because there's just so much to learn and so many resources to choose from. It's kind of mind-blowing. Also, side note, I specifically searched for non-AI images and they're like 90% AI. It's probably just a bad search prompt, but still, it's really bad. One of the first tutorials on YouTube I decided to do was this Sword in the Stone tutorial from CG Fast Track. I love fantasy adventure type stuff, so when I saw this, I just had to do it. Like I said, I already kind of knew the basics of Blender, but for the most part, everything I did in this tutorial was completely new to me. I was using modifiers, I was making complex shapes for the first time, and just being introduced to a ton of new tools and techniques, which, if I'm being totally honest, I'd mostly forgotten at this point. I feel like when you're just following along with a tutorial, you're definitely learning things in the moment, but unless you take that information and immediately use it for your own personal projects, which I didn't do, it's really easy to forget everything you learned. Still, this tutorial helped me feel a bit more comfortable using the program, so I'm really glad I did it. I didn't finish the tutorial, but all I really wanted to do was make the sword. So after this, I decided to move on to something else. Next, I decided to try this plastic ball tutorial by CG Geek, and I made this really cool animation. It's pretty simple because all you're really doing is using an emitter and creating a particle system to create all the different balls, and then you just use the physics tab to make the balls bounce down the stairs. Even though I'm saying it's simple, this project took me days. I was struggling with basically every step. Trying to get the balls to bounce was a nightmare, and just modeling the room took me forever. But I learned a lot from doing this, so it was worth it. And then, this time, I decided to take what I learned from the tutorial and use it to make my own personal project. So I made this very simple heart animation which I think turned out pretty cute. I used an emitter and particle system to make all the little hearts, and then I just used a curve to create the larger heart shape. And then I was debating whether to put this last thing in the video or not, but yeah, outside of Blender, I really want to improve my 2D art skills, so I drew this. It's my first piece of digital art, and it's all very new to me. I usually don't draw people, but even though it looks like a kid made this, I'm still happy with it. If you're still watching this, thank you. It means a lot to me that other people might be interested in my journey to becoming a game creator. And I hope that by putting myself out there, I might be able to inspire other people to work towards their own goals, or even connect with other aspiring 3D artists or animators or game creators, and just sort of be able to find a cool community that motivates each other and inspires each other. I'm really happy with the progress that I've made so far. It's taking a lot longer than I initially expected, but it's okay. What matters is that I'm putting in the time, I'm learning new skills, and most importantly, I'm actually having a lot of fun. I think I really found my passion, and it's really exciting. And trust me, I know that most video games are not made by one person by themselves, but I do think that me knowing at least kind of a baseline of knowledge for all of the areas of video game making will be very helpful for me down the line, whether I end up making a game by myself or working with a team. But overall, I'm feeling really good with where I am right now. I haven't really been learning these skills for that long. As of now, it's only been like a couple weeks, and I feel like I'm at a pretty good place. I'm just really excited to keep working and making new projects in Blender, and eventually learning Unity and actually getting to learn how to code. I know Unity uses C++, so I'm interested in getting started with that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. By the way, if you want to watch the two animations that I showed earlier, the heart animation and the balls falling down the stairs animation, with original music that I made, I'm actually going to post those as individual videos on the channel. They're going to be super short, but if you're interested in seeing that and hearing the music that I wrote and played on the piano, yeah, you can check those out. So again, thank you so much for watching this. I'm going to keep working towards my goal, and I hope to be able to post another progress update video in the next week or two. So let me know what your big goals are in the comments and what you're doing to work towards them. And I hope I see you next time. Bye!